going on YouTube? It's Craig, certified technician here at ApplianceVideo.com. And today I have this Whirlpool French door refrigerator and I'm going to show you how to enter diagnostics as well as do a couple of tests. But before we get too far, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. And as always, let's jump right in. Before entering diagnostics, you'll want to familiarize yourself with the user interface. First, you have switches 1 and 2. If you press them at the same time, this will enter diagnostics. Switch 3 will be a select key, and then switches 4 and 5 will be used to navigate. So let's go ahead and press in on the first 2 keys, and you'll see the screen should count down 3, 2, 1 and enter into diagnostics. And you'll notice the first test is going to pop up and it's going to show 0, 1. This is going to be for the freezer compartment thermistor, and then 02 will be for the refrigerator compartment thermistor. During both of these tests, you should see a certain digit pop up after you've entered the test. 01 will be for pass, 02 will be for open, or 03 will be for short. Obviously, both of these tests, you want it to show 01 for pass. If you're getting a different reading, you probably have a problem with the thermistor. And then next, let's go ahead and navigate to the next test. The next test, test number 3, is going to be for your evaporator fan motor and air baffle system. You want to make sure that this unit is moving air, and to do so, you'll want to hit switch 3 to enter it, and put your hand in the very back to make sure you can feel air come through, and then all of a sudden it will stop. If you feel no air and do not hear the fan motor running, you probably have a bad fan motor. But if you hear the fan motor running and you're not feeling any air come up to the top, the problem is probably within that baffle system. Moving forward, test number 4 is going to be a compressor and condenser fan motor test. To activate it, you'll want to hit switch 3 and it either turns it on or it turns it off. But be aware, if you turn that compressor on and then stop it suddenly, it'll take about 5 minutes for it to be able to turn back on. Now, when you start it, go to the back, take that back panel off and make sure your compressor is running. The compressor is what pushes the coolant through the system, and if it's not running, this is a bad sign. You'll probably want to call for service. The next thing you'll want to look for right now is the condenser fan motor running. That fan motor cools down the compressor in the back to prevent it from overheating. So if you notice the sides of your refrigerator are really hot and you run this test and that fan motor is not running, you'll probably want to replace the motor. The next test is going to be test number 6, and this is your defrost system test. And you'll have 1 of 2 readings, either 01 for closed or 02 for open. What this does is it energizes the heater system inside the freezer. If you look on your back wall and you have a large amount of frost on there, that means that the unit is not going through defrost. If you do have that frost on there and you run this test and it says 01 for closed, that means that the defrost termination, the heater is good. It's probably within the main control board. But if you read a 02 for open, you're going to want to defrost that refrigerator overnight, take that freezer apart, and look at that heater and bimetal. That's probably where your issue is. Scrolling down to our next test, test number 9 is going to be for the UI functionality test. And by pressing different buttons, you should have a response on the screen just indicating that it works. What you may find when you hit switch 1 would be a 1 on the screen. Switch 2 will show 2. Switch 6 will show 6. Now it is important to note that you will not be pressing switch 4 or 5 on here, as these are navigation keys. But if you press the ice pad, the second digit line should show a 1, the water pad will show a 2. The next test I want to skip to is test number 18. This is going to be for an ice door motor. And when you go to this test, you'll simply want to press for ice dispense, and certain digits will come on the screen showing you where in the process it's at. If it shows a 01, that means that the flapper is closed. Keep holding it in, and you should notice that the display after a couple of seconds will read 02 for opening, followed by 03 for open. Upon letting go of the paddle, you'll notice after a couple of seconds, 04 will show on the screen, showing you that it is closing. So your chute is working, but your ice maker still isn't working properly for you. I want you to scroll down to test number 36. This is going to be for the icebox fan. This unit has a separate fan motor to cool down its ice maker so that it can produce ice in a pretty rapid manner. When you select this test by pressing switch 3, you'll want to open the door and put your hand in the top left and make sure you have good airflow. If you do not, you probably have a problem with that icebox fan motor. The next ice maker test is test number 37, and when you go into this test, you'll see one of three readings. You'll either have 0.1 for pass, 0.2 for open, or 0.3 for shorted. You want to show 0.1 for pass. If it does not have pass and you are not making ice, the problem is probably within that ice maker thermistor. In our final test, test number 38 is going to be for a forced defrost mode. So when you go to 38, make sure you hit the select key, which is the third button, and then you'll want to open up the freezer and listen for noises. If you have an abundant amount of frost on that back wall of that freezer, after about 5 minutes, you should hear a sizzling noise. If you do not hear a sizzling noise, make sure you refer back to the other defrost test to find out what your problem could be. And of course, this is going to finish diagnostics on this refrigerator. Go ahead and hit the first two buttons simultaneously to exit. And if you do need this manual, you can obtain it by either going to the manufacturer's website or posting it in the repair help section on ApplianceVideo.com. YouTube, if you enjoy my content, make sure you like and subscribe, and as always, I'll see you next time.